noise. Everyone says the same stuff. They say the same things as their competitors, and no one listens. You got to have $1 million message. What's going to break through the clutter? The third part of your pipeline or your funnel is something we call the signature solution. And that means what makes you different from your competitors? What makes you different from your competitors? If you cannot say what makes you different, then you're going to get lost in the shuffle. You need to have something that really is a headliner for you that makes you separate. If you are a car wash, you know that everybody else does the same basic stuff that you do. But what's going to make your car wash different than the car wash down the road? There's a car wash right around the corner from me here in Williamsburg. And what they do somewhat different than a lot of other car washes is you walk in and they have this amazing, comfortable, spacious waiting room. They have leather chairs. They have, of course, the TV going. They have free coffee and snacks and newspapers. And they have this large window that stretches the whole length of the car wash where you can watch someone dry down and detail your car. And it's just a great, pleasant, relaxing experience. A lot of times you don't get that in car washes. Those places feel kind of dirty or grimy or smelly, but this one feels like almost like a spa you're going to, and that's their signature solution. What's yours? The fourth part of the funnel is what we call the traffic source. Now, this is really where the rubber meets the road, and you can have all these things done beforehand, 1, 2, and 3, but if you don't have a plan for how you're going to get eyeballs to your offer, then all of your efforts are a waste. Traffic source is when you ask, how can I blend traditional and digital? How can you blend traditional and digital? What does that mean? Traditional marketing is all the stuff that we grew up with before the internet, which would be things like radio, TV, print, outdoor advertising, those types of things, direct mail. Those are all traditional forms of marketing. But you also want to blend in digital forms of marketing as well. We're now in 2022. We've got to tap into the digital online side. That includes things such as having a great website, having an e-commerce system, having your SEO, search engine optimization, figured out, maybe using online ads such as Google or Facebook or Instagram, having email campaigns. These are all digital tools that can fortify your message, your signature solution to your target market. So you got to blend those. Now, you might not be able to blend them when you're first getting started. You might not have the budget for it. But as your business grows, let that be a goal of yours to blend traditional and digital. Okay? Number 5, you need to have an ultimate lead magnet. In other words, you need to have some bait on your fishing line to grab someone so that you can begin a conversation with them with hopefully the goal of them becoming a client or a customer. And this is the ultimate lead magnet is how do you gather contact info? Ask yourself that. How do you gather contact info? And we believe that every website on the homepage should have a very intentional, strategic way of grabbing visitors to your site, giving them something for free in exchange for their email address and their name. Now, what you give them for free can be everything from a promo code or free shipping or a coupon or a PDF or video training, something that they get once they give you their contact information, because then you can begin that conversation with them. Number 6 is the Authority Amplifier part of your funnel. The Authority Amplifier. This is how do you show your expertise? How do you show your expertise? And some people don't even think about this when it comes to their marketing, but you need to have something in your plan that can show people that you know what you're talking about. This can be a blog that you do. This can be a vlog. This can be a webinar. This can be a live stream. This can be the Facebook Live that you get on and you talk about something in your industry that an expert would know. People are looking for experts that they trust so they can have confidence of where to spend their hard-earned dollars. And that's where you need to have something that you do regularly that amplifies your expertise and your authority. And then finally, number 7 is what we call the conversion event. And the conversion event is how do you close the sale? When you get someone all the way down your pipeline, they're the perfect client for you, they love your message, they see your signature solution, they've come to you because you've reached out with your traffic, They have taken your ultimate lead magnet. They see that you're an expert in your space. How do you actually get them to take their card and swipe it? Well, that's where you need to think this through. How do you close the sale? Maybe you're going to have different pricing tiers. Maybe you're going to have a deadline for when a special will happen or when it expires. All types of things that you can do strategically in your marketing to really help a conversion event go smoothly and to get people moving with call to actions. Okay? So that's a lot that I just said, but I wanted to give you that bird's eye view of what a marketing funnel looks like. Now look at this again. Look at the image and look how it all connects together. You need to have each one of these if you want to have a 5-star marketing strategy. And I know it might look complicated at first. It might look something that could be frustrating to start. You don't know where to get going with it, but I'm telling you, once you take each one of these piece by piece, it really can help you tremendously. We just see it happen over and over again. Okay, so any questions about that funnel? Any questions about any one of those 7 events? Again, this class is not designed to go through each one of these specifically today, but if you have certain questions, I'm happy to answer them if you do. If not, we're going to keep on moving, and now we're going to get to the really practical, interactive stuff. So I want you to get ready, put your imagination cap on, your thinking cap, because now we're going to get really custom for you, okay? Really custom. And the first thing I want to talk about is what we call your one-liner. If I had to start anywhere with somebody's marketing plan, my first question would most likely be, what is your one-liner? This is what happens when people go to networking events or they go to business meetings. Inevitably, someone walks up to you and says, hey, how you doing, Bob? How you doing, Susan? What do you do? And in that moment, you have a golden opportunity on a silver platter to talk about your business. But how many times have we seen people crash and burn in that next few seconds because they don't know how to describe their business in a very clear, understandable way in a few seconds? And they drone on, they blather, they say this, they say that, it's confusing, and the person that asks a question still has no idea what they're talking about. They use insider language. It's just a mess. Listen, this is the first thing we have to work on, your one-liner. It might sound fundamental, it might sound basic, but it's critical. The rest of your marketing message flows from your one-liner. Consider this to be the North Star of your marketing message, okay? And it has 3 parts to it. Number 1 part is you talk about who you're trying to reach and their unique problem. The second part of your one-liner, now we're just talking phrases here, should be your solution to their problem. And the third part of your one-liner is the happy ending that you bring when they do business with you. That's all that a one-liner is. Just think in terms of those 3 parts, put them together, and then you have a one-liner that you can use at any business meeting. Or if someone says, hey, we're glad you're here today. Can you stand up and tell us about your business? And all eyes are on you, and you think, what am I going to say? Go back to your one-liner. And we also encourage people to put their one-liner on their website homepage. Now, how does this work? Let me give you an example, and then I want you to start working on yours. This is Genie Jar Digital, my company's one-liner. Okay, now notice how we have each part in here. So I still use this every single day. And I say to folks, hey, if you're a business owner and struggle with your marketing, we create and implement a custom marketing plan so your company can reach new customers and grow revenue. You don't have to worry about payroll day again because you have enough revenue there. That's our one-liner. That's it. And once you write that down and just commit it to memory, then you have something now and forever. Now notice I keep it real simple. I don't use a lot of adjectives. I don't try to get all flowery with it. I'm trying to make it so it's basic and anyone can understand it, whether they know marketing or not. Okay, so let me show you how this works. So notice here, I've highlighted a few things. If you're a business owner, that's my target market, business owners who struggle with their marketing. That's their unique problem. They're too busy running their business and their hair is on fire. They can't worry about marketing details at this point. That's why we come in with a solution, which is line 2. We create and implement a custom marketing plan. Hey, we solve this problem. And what's the happy ending with all the fireworks going off behind Cinderella's castle? Here it is. So your company can reach new customers and grow revenue. So me and my partner, we've worked together with this, and we both know this one-liner up and down, spin us around, blindfold us. We know this one-liner. So you can ask us at any time, hey, what's the one-liner? We're going to say it almost word for word. And I believe that having a one-liner for your business is more powerful than having a mission statement. Yeah, have a mission statement. There's nothing wrong with having that. But from my experience, mission statements tend to get printed out and framed and placed on a wall, and everyone ignores it. Most employees, you walk up to them and say, hey, what's the mission statement of your company? They'll look at you with blank faces, and their eyes will wax over. They have no clue what the mission. They could probably say, oh, we do this or do that, but everyone's going to have a different way of describing it. But when you have a one-liner and you require your staff to know that one-liner, now everybody's playing from the same sheet of music, and this helps your overall marketing. If you cannot state your one-liner for your business, how can your marketing message be clear? It can't. So everybody, here's your challenge. This is the interactive part. I want you to take a piece of paper, and I want you to take the next 3 or 4 minutes to write out your one-liner. Use those 3 phrases that we talked about. Maybe I need to go back to that. Problem, solution, happy ending, there it is. And if you want to use mine as a little bit of a template, feel free. Feel free to use that. Again, this is not for a grade. This is not for an English paper. Make it simple. So I'm going to take a 3 to 4 minute break. And when you have yours done, please put that in the chat box. I'm going to put it out there, guys. Let's do it. Let's get some real-time feedback. This is a perfect opportunity to give your one-liner to a group of people and maybe get some feedback from it. And I'll pipe in on certain ones, and I'll also give you some feedback about what I think. So go ahead. I'm waiting right here. In about 3 minutes, I'll pick back up again. Also want to welcome Jason. I didn't see his response at first. Former Navy rescue swimmer, teaching classes and online programs as well as products, boot camps for veterans, get them in shape both mentally and physically. Incredible. Welcome, Jason. Good to have you here. Sounds like an incredible business there. Let's take about another 60 seconds. And then if you already have yours done, begin typing it into the chat box. And I can't wait to see your initial thoughts. Now, keep in mind, we know that when you first put something together, it's not going to be refined. We're not trying for perfection here. We just want progress. So just put some noodles on the wall. And then from there, from feedback and from more thought and revision, you can really get this to exactly how you want it and begin to use it for your advantage. That's the cool thing about a one-liner too. You don't need a website to have a one-liner. You don't need any other marketing to have a one-liner. It's something that you can have in your back pocket and use from day to day, regardless of your marketing budget. You don't need to have a budget to have a one-liner. And what we've also found is this forces business owners to be super clear about what they do, because the number one problem that we see in marketing is the message is wrong. So I'd say 95% of the time when people are struggling with their marketing, it's not because the marketing media is not working. It's because their message is off the rails. It's confusing to people. And when people are confused about a message, then they won't do business with you. The old adage is true. If you confuse, you lose. But if you are clear, then people say, oh, okay, I get how this works. And then they're interested in moving forward even more. Okay, so I won't be able to hit all these, but I'm just going to hit a few here. And let's see, Helen. Hello, Helen. Helen, her one-liner is, educate individuals on how to understand their taxes and make difficult tax situations practical and obtainable. Okay, we've got really good stuff here to work with. Thank you for putting that together. Okay, the problem is educating individuals on how to understand their taxes. I would say, what kind of individuals are you working with? I know that you can probably say, well, I work with everybody. But here's a real key that we want to focus on as well. In our businesses, we're going to be better off if we move away from being generalists and instead we become specialists. That doesn't mean you can't serve a variety of people. It just means that you're really trying to give your marketing into a smaller pond so you have a greater impact. So I would say, Helen, what type of individuals are your key target market? Would that be small business owners? Who is that? Who are those individuals? How are you going to educate them? And maybe you can even mention, I'm educating whatever your target market is, and they struggle with their taxes, or they get stressed out about their taxes. Let's speak to the problem that they're having. And then you mention in your next thing, so they can understand their taxes and make difficult tax situations practical and obtainable. Okay, I really like where you're going with this. And I would just say, focus in a little bit more on the specifics, speak about their problem, just tune that up a little bit, but you're off and running. It's a great job with that. And I know as you continue to refine it, it will be something that can really be helpful. Derek says, creating a community, and I'm sorry if I keep on pausing every time we have a new person who posts something, my chat scrolls up. Creating a community watching experience so people can share their enjoyment of their favorite movies and shows with others. Okay. Who is it for, Derek? Again, for the sake of this exercise, we can't say that our business is for everyone. Okay, let's outlaw that. Now, granted, you want to open your doors to everyone, but for this, we want to say, I got to zoom in. I got to look for a slice of the pizza pie instead of the whole pie. Who are you trying to reach to have a watching experience? And what's their problem? Why would they even want to come to you for a watching experience? Tell me why they need what you have to offer. And so people can, again, let me scroll back up. Man, this is a pain that it does this. I wish it would just stick on where I'm at on the deal here. Hold on for a second. These are so good. I'm looking through. These are great. So people can share their enjoyment of their favorite movies and shows with others. Okay, I like how you end it. You do talk about the happy ending with that. I would again focus on the specific of who you're trying to reach, why they need you, and what your unique solution is. Can you tell me more about your unique solution? What is your watching experience? How do they get enjoyment from you rather than someone else? I like where you're going though. Okay, we've got another one here. If you're tired of shaving and struggle with razor burn or ingrown hairs, okay, you spoke to the problem. Fantastic. Okay, I can provide waxing services that can help with your skin and hair problems. Okay, that's really strong. You hit all the three areas. Are you trying to reach primarily men or women? If you had to choose, which one would you choose? one way or the other. It might be 51% to 49%, but can I encourage you to choose one or the other? And you can, hey, if you're a woman and you struggle, you hate shaving, you hate the razor burns, I can provide the waxing services. So speak to that specific person. You can see this is a common thread that we all have to work on, myself included. Who is your perfect avatar? Just discipline yourself to speak to them instead of being general about it. But great job of that. All right. Christian says, think HGTV interior design. Where do they get that awesome furniture? From custom furniture, woodworkers. I can build it any way you want it. And you said cheesy. I don't care if it's cheesy. Hey, this is what it's about. Trying to put this out there and put it together. Okay. So again, who's your target market and what's their problem? Maybe you can state the problem better. Like if you just want to have great furniture, but you don't know where to look, you're speaking to their problem, then you can give the rest of your one-liner. That's very good stuff. I'm going to scroll around here before we have to move on because, time is moving fast. Let's see here. If you're looking for safe and reliable medical transportation, we have drivers that will serve you from a caring heart and will deliver ultimate experiences as we play our part in your health care. Okay. If you are looking for safe and reliable, okay, would this be typically seniors that you're trying to reach? Is there maybe a different segment of society? Who are you trying to reach specifically? Who's your most typical customer? Call them out in your one-liner. And okay, maybe you need to say, let me just say if they're seniors. If you are a senior and you don't have safe and reliable medical transportation, then and then you can talk about your one-liner and the happy ending there. So I know I keep on beating the same drum, but it's really important. This is where it all starts. This is like laying the foundation for your house. You got to get these bricks right. All right. And let me just do one more. Christian, men. Okay. Yes. That's good. You already niched it down to men. Maybe you can even niche it more to an age group, or maybe are they teens? Are they 20-somethings? Men, do you suffer from the walk of shame at the nail salon just because you want your hard-working feet taken care of? And then at the name of your company, salon, we have just what you need. Okay. I like the beginning of that. I like how you mentioned men. Let's specify what age, maybe, perhaps some more. I like how you brought some humor in that walk of shame at the nail salon. That relates. That's great. But I would say this. You close with saying we have just what you need. Again, that's a danger. That's a cliche. That doesn't tell me anything. Everybody can say that no matter what business. We have just what you need. So when you do your one-liner, avoid things like, we have great customer service. Everybody says that. We are family friendly. Everybody says that. We have great prices. Everybody says that. You can't say those cliche statements because that's not $1 million message. So you started off really strong. I would say really work on the tail end of that one-liner, and you're going to have a real champion there that you can use in lots of different ways. Guys, I wish we could go through all these, but I'm looking, and I'm going to look at these even after the class is done. These are excellent things. And by the way, feel free to reach out to one another and give feedback too. You're going to be hopefully in the class or the rest of the day. These can be really helpful to get feedback from each other because basically you're pitching this to other potential customers. They can give you real-time feedback. All right, let's move on because of the sake of time. We could have a whole session just on a one-liner. And let's move on. And now we're going to go to what we'll call the website headline. Let's say that you've got your website up and going, which is really important. You know, today, if you don't have a website, that's 2 strikes against you. And I just always encourage folks, okay, get that logo down. You want to have a visual online brand identity. Then you get your website up. But the first thing that people look at when they visit your website, they're going to see a picture and they're going to see a headline. What does your headline say? Headlines are so critical. Now, here's, again, a problem that people run into. They try to be so clever with their headlines that they confuse people. Listen, I like creativity. I like being clever just like everybody else. But you want to be effective more than you want to be clever. Now, if you can be effective and clever, hey, that's fantastic. But go for effective. That means you want to hit it on the nail on the head. You want to just be straight about what you do and how you can help someone. So this is what we use. These are some prompts when we build out websites that we help people with their headlines. And basically you ask this, think about your business, we help you what? Fill in that blank. We help you, what do you help people do? Fill in that blank. And what you fill in that blank with, that's a great contender to be your website headline. So on your piece of paper, begin to jot down some thoughts with this. We help you. And then I would say when you put that on your website, leave out the words we help you and just use what you put in the fill in the blank. Because you don't have much space. We want to be very summarized with how we speak in terms of our website real estate. Another prompt is need help with fill in the blank, question mark. Again, these are two different angles of just trying to work through the clutter of all the things that you could say on your website to be ultra laser beam focused. We help you, what are you need help with? Let me show you an example of this. This is actually one of our clients, and they have lots of places all around the nation. And hey, you guys, as military, federal employees, this is a great company, by the way. They're called Retirement System Solutions. And notice their headline, maximize and protect your federal retirement benefits. Boom. When you visit that website, I'm going to be willing to bet that within 5 to 6 seconds, you know exactly what they do. They're going to help you maximize and protect your retirement benefits. So we didn't try to get all clever. We just wanted to be, boom, right there. And again, that answers that first one. We help you maximize and protect your federal retirement benefits. And having that first website headline, make sure it hits the bullseye is so critical. I think we have another. Oh, this is my company. So we gave you an example of the other one. Need help with your small business marketing? I like that. And that tells somebody when they visit our site, hey, wait a second. I have a small business. I have to do marketing. I need help with it. And I tend to like headlines that ask questions because that makes someone internally go, yes. And they're already interacting with what content you're putting out there. So I want you to think this one through, okay? This is not as hard, maybe, or maybe it is, as your one-liner. At least it's not as long. Okay, please write out a couple of different thoughts, at least, of what your website headline is, and throw that into the chat box. And let's jump in the deep end, and let's take a look at some of these website headlines. Let's see if it works on us. If it doesn't, that's okay. Hey, there's no pressure here. We're trying to at least see how workable things are. You know, marketing sometimes is trial and error. You try one thing, oh, that didn't work. Oh, this one works much better. Okay. Let's see here. He's Christian. The headline is like that clickbait title on YouTube videos. Yeah, exactly right. You want to have something that makes people want to click and keep on going. So you want to have a headline that actually interests people. You don't want to bore them, but you want to, and here's the thing, you're trying to think with your target market in mind. What's my target market wondering? So if I can have something that makes them want to say, oh, yeah, that's speaking my language, that's music to my ears, then you know you're right where you need to be. So you do want to think in terms of that to get people continue to go forward. Now, let's see, we got one right here. Reignite and strengthen your spark to lead and inspire others. Okay, that's good. I like how you're thinking. I need to know more. Now, again, this is out of context. If I would see your logo and see your website, it would make more sense. But that is general, and that could be applied to any business. So I would say, what kind of spark are you talking about? And are you talking to me as a business owner? Do I need more spark in my entrepreneurship to lead and inspire my employees? Can you give me a little bit more specific there? And that would, you can take that framework and add a few more specifics, maybe even shorten it a tad, and I think it'd be more effective. Okay, we have one. Let me wax away and leave your skin healthy and flawless. How about for that one? What if you just said, enjoy healthy and flawless skin? I like sometimes starting with a verb. Enjoy healthy and flawless skin. Does that say it all? Yeah. And then we could go from there. Another one, having a hard time sharing the word of God to your loved ones and friends. Okay. Let's shorten it. Need help sharing the word of God to others. Notice how we just shorten that a little bit. Again, you don't have much space. The longer a headline is, the less effective it will be. Let's see. Derek says, watch movies, shows, sports, and other events together with friends or viewers all around the world. We could say something like, enjoy viewing events with others. Notice how, again, that's not perfect. That's rough around the edges. But we want to go from being wordy to focusing on maybe 5 to 6 words, 7 tops. If you can keep it within that 5 to 7 word range, that's when you hit, again, the bullseye. All right. So experience safe and reliable medical transportation. Perfect. 10 out of 10. That's easy. I get it. If I land on your site, I immediately know what you do. Enjoy tasteful flavors without the alcohol. Boom. Okay, now we're shaking. See how this works? It just takes a while to kind of get the hang of it. Everybody can do this. Enjoy tasteful flavors without the alcohol. I mean, that tells me everything I need. Great job with that. So, guys, you are doing wonderful. We could, again, spend a lot more time on this, but we want to keep on moving so we can get some more practicals in your toolbox, okay? Great job. Keep on writing these things down and use them, all right? So next we're going to go to your target market. Let's talk about your target market just for a second. I know we touched on that. Who is your most typical customer? I want you to actually write this down, okay? And maybe you have already with your one-liner, but let's bolster this just a little bit more. I want you to niche your information down to your most specific, most viable subset of customers. All right. So if you sell, makeup, don't just say, "Hey, this is great makeup. Come and enjoy." Maybe you want to say, "Hey, if you are a teenager, if you are in your 20s and you're looking for a cool new look," I'm just throwing stuff out there. You want to be as specific as possible, knowing that you can reach other people, but get specific with that subset of customers. Here's a few questions to consider that can really help. You need to ask, what's their gender? Let's start there. I know that can be a little bit more complicated today, but be real specific about your target market. Where do they live? What's their age range? What's their favorite radio station? What TV program do they enjoy watching? What's their favorite website? And what's important to them? Now, the thing is, if I were to take 4 or 5 of these questions and you wouldn't tell me who you're trying to reach, but you would give me the answers to these questions, like if you had somebody, the favorite radio station, you would say they don't listen to the radio, they listen to Spotify, okay? Favorite TV program, the Kardashians, or some reality show, let's say The Bachelor, okay? Favorite website, YouTube, okay? What's important to them? Social media. What does that tell me about my target market? It tells me they skew younger. So this tells me a lot just based upon some of their preferences. Or you can say, what's their favorite radio station? 80s. Favorite TV program? Fox News. Favorite website? ESPN. What's important to them? Providing for their family. That tells me that's probably somebody in middle age, right? It's probably a guy. Again, these are being general about things, but these questions can really help you focus in about who you're trying to best reach. So take a second on your piece of paper and answer each one of these questions to the best of your ability. Now, if you haven't started your business yet, you might not know all this completely. But if you've opened your doors for a while, or if you kind of know already from past experience, start writing these things down. And when you do, you will see that it fires off some neurons in your brain to help you with your marketing message. Because once you sit down to write an email and you know exactly what the person on the other side looks like and what they love to do, then you're going to have a much more effective email. And again, this is an exercise to keep us away from general marketing. We want to be specific. We want to have pizzazz. We want to have a signature solution. We want to have $1 million message. So, and I'll share a quick story with this of a company that's done this incredible. There is a haunted house. It's a haunted house business, and it's in Tennessee. Maybe you've heard of it before. It's called Mckamey Manor. Mckamey Manor. And they bill themselves as the world's scariest haunted house. And why can they say that? Well, in however many years they've been in business, they've never had, not yet, not one person has made it all the way through the haunted house. They've all quit before they got to the end. Now you think, okay, what are they doing different? What's the deal with Mckamey Manor? Well, they do things a lot different. Before you can go through their haunted house, you've got to sign insurance waivers. You've got to have a doctor's report that says it's okay for you to go in. And then you have to also sign a waiver saying that the folks inside the haunted house, that they can touch you. And then you write down some of the things that you're afraid of, and it really becomes psychological warfare. If they know that you're afraid of tight spaces, they're going to put you in a coffin. If they know that you hate insects, they're going to put spiders on you. They might shave off your eyebrows. Now, they're not going to hurt you, but they're going to play into your fears. Now, what does this have to do with the target market? Do you think many people want to go through this haunted house? Yes. They have a waiting list of years of people wanting to get in and give it their best shot. And this haunted house offers $20,000 to anybody who can make it all the way through, and no one has done it yet. So people want to do this. Now, who are they reaching? Are they going to reach the 50-somethings and up? Probably not. Maybe. Probably not their typical customer. I'm guessing their typical customer is going to skew younger. They're going to love thrills, adventures, activity, social media. That's who they're reaching, and that's who they're effective with. And because they're reaching that group, their marketing is viral. They know their target market, and they play up to that target market with their message. I love it. See someone said they lost me at spiders. I'm with you. They would lose me at burying me in a coffin. I cannot handle the claustrophobia. But there are people who love doing that stuff, and that's their target market. They don't just say, hey, we're a haunted house for everybody. No, they say, you better make sure that you have your doctor's report, because we're going to scare you and you're not going to make it through. That speaks to a unique people. Okay. Who are you speaking to? Be as specific as that. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but the more specific you are, the better your marketing is. All right. And I think we have time for one more. I have 4 or 5 more segments to go through, but that's okay. We're going to work through what we can. So we might have to close with this one. Your brand personality. This is really important as well. Just like every person has a personality, so does every company. Every brand has a personality. So if you look at this screen here, when you see the Rolex logo, what do you think of? The personality is luxurious. I think about that immediately. When you see Volvo, you might think safety. When you see Harley Davidson, you might think adventure. Coca-Cola, you might think family. Walt Disney, you might think fun. All of these logos, these brands, have a personality attached to them that people all equate with. The question you need to ask yourself is, when people see my logo, when people interact with my brand, what do I want them to think of? What word or two comes to mind? That's really powerful. So here's some questions I want you to ask about your company culture. Again, if you're just starting your company, maybe you haven't even developed this yet, but now you have the benefit of starting from the ground up. Grab your pen, grab your paper, and I want you to answer these questions. Now, you can't say both. Okay, that's against the rules. You have to choose one or the other. Are you humorous or serious? That's going to make a big difference when you do your advertising. Your headlines, they'll come across either funny or serious, depending on your industry, what you're trying to do. Are you traditional or do you lean more towards innovative? Now, again, there's not a right or wrong answer here. Just be true to yourself and true to your brand. Traditional or innovative? Are you agreeable or are you rebellious? You know, Harley Davidson, again, would probably fit into that rebellious mode. At least that's what they want you to think. Get on this bike and have your rebel yell and go off on some adventure. Are you gentle or hard-hitting? That will make a difference in how you speak in your marketing and on your website. Are you glamorous or rugged? Glamorous, again, would be Rolex. Rugged might be something like North Face, LL Bean. Are you creative or analytical? Again, that will help your message when you figure out which one of those you are. Now, that's not to say that you can't do both at some times, but mostly, which one are you? Are you casual or formal? And do you prefer sweet tea or wine? Sweet tea or wine? Now, again, that's just a funny one to end with, but that does give a picture of your brand personality. And do you realize whenever we sit down and work with a new company, we ask them these exact questions, and that works as some guardrails for us when we begin to write out their content. If someone, excuse me, if someone tells me, hey, we're a humorous, innovative, creative, casual company. All right. When we begin to write out their content, I know exactly the tone to take. Same thing goes for someone who says, no, okay, our company is serious, we're very traditional, we're agreeable, and very analytical. Even more on the formal side. Okay, I can write that as well, but that's going to be a different path that we take, and that's okay as well. Write that down, and now you have something that you can use. Now, what time we got here? It's about 5 minutes to go. So far, you should have some good stuff here. You've got your pipeline, you've got your marketing plan, you've got your one-liner, your headline. You should have a better idea of who you're trying to reach in terms of your target market, and you should know your brand personality. Now, since we don't have time to jump into any more, we also talk about later in this session, if we have more time, your lead magnet, your bullseye product, some logo tips, and some website tips. But that would be another hour that we would need, and we don't have that today. You say, what do you mean, Christian's asking, what do you mean creative versus analytical? Give an example. When someone says they're creative, I tend to use a lot more contractions in their copy. It's time to party. IT, apostrophe S, it's time to party. Notice it's just more of a creative, loose feel. We worked with someone in the financial industry recently, and they said, no, we're finances. We want to come across as analytical because people trust us to be analytical. And she said, I do not want contractions in my copy. I want it to say, this is the best place. It is now time for you to work on your finances, something like that. Now, it's more than just contractions, but it's the actual feel to your message that is either creative or analytical. And I know that's probably not a specific example. After we get off this thing, I'll probably think of some better examples of that. But that also plays out in your images. It plays out in your blog. And by the way, we do encourage people to have a blog. If you don't do a blog, then do video, because that gets to show off either your analytical, scientific, I can figure out problems and engineer stuff side, or this shows off your creative, outside of the box, we're going to do something unique side. And you just want more opportunities to show your spots, to show what makes you you. And again, if I'm looking for an engineering company, I want to see that I want them to sound like they know their math. I want them to sound like they know their analytics. And if I'm looking for somebody who's going to do copywriting for me, I want them to show me that they have some creativity in their bones. And again, that shows through the word and that shows through imaging. Any other questions? Let's see. Nobody's thrown anything else in here. Questions about any of those issues before we turn it over to the powers that be? Okay, well, listen, if you have any questions or if you just want to contact me afterwards, feel free. My email is Brian, B-R-I-A-N, at geniejar.net. Hey, thank you for the feedback. Thank you guys for being a part of this. I told you this was going to be, a little bit more interactive, and it kind of makes things interesting when we do that. Let me see if I have anything in here. Let me go to the end here. I wanted to tell you about this. Whenever it gets to the point where you need help, if you need help with your marketing, everything we've just went through and more we work our clients through to make sure that they are airtight. We have something called the Grow Your Business Game Plan. And because you're in VBOC, just go to geniejardigital.com/game plan, type in the promo code PLAN, and you get 25% off because you're special like that. And if you wanted to see an example of our lead magnet, in case you're trying to build your own for your website, then go to geniejardigital.com/PDF. That's a free offering that you can download, and you can see how we've created a lead magnet in order to have contact information from people so that we can stay in touch with them. And that means about once a month, we send out an entertaining and practical email of marketing tips. Yes, and I'll put my email in the chat and business name as well once I finish up. So, hey guys, you're amazing. Thank you so much for being a part of this. I wish I could go through each one of these much more in depth. I'm going to look forward going through these after we finish. But Troy, I'm going to toss the football back over to you and hope everybody has a great rest of the day. Thanks again for all that you do for our country.
All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started with our next module. And lucky for us, the next two modules are actually going to be taught by the same person, Mr. Ray Feliciano. Ray's been working with us and with our clients for last 8 years, Ray, 7 years, Ray?
Yeah, that's about right.
Now, so with Sona Bank originally, and now he's with Primus Bank, correct, Ray?
Yeah, just a name change. Same bank.
Same bank, name change. Ray's a VP up there, and you're still in the Army Reserve, correct, Ray?
I am. 29 years.
29 years. So Ray is intel officer, probably the smartest person I've ever met, Ray. And that's not, I'm not kidding on that. But what you do for us here, with your expertise in the banking world is, bar none, it's so helpful to our clients. Ray works really well with some other banks that we have down on the south side of the water as well. Work hand in hand with Sabrina Davis or Fulton Bank, and they really help out our clients with whatever banking needs they have. And then they also help us out with teaching classes like this. And Ray, thank you again for volunteering your time, helping out our veteran clients and doing this class for us.
Well, certainly my pleasure, Troy. Honestly, as this is the intersect of two of my passions, banking and military, so it is 100% my pleasure to go here and help however I can. This is a little bit of an atypical structure for me, so I'll ask everybody to give me a little bit of grace here because definitely not used to teaching this kind of stuff online. I am much, much better in person. I am a very kind of animated individual and very just people and person oriented, so I like being there in person. So with that, I apologize up front, but I will do my best to relay this information to you because, I've got 2 classes between you and lunch, right? However, these 2 classes are probably 2 of your most important classes when it comes to how you're going to finance your venture. A lot of times, the only thing preventing anybody from starting their own business is capital, right? That's the biggest thing. How would I fund it, right? How would I start it? How would I pay myself, right? How would I be able to last long enough to where the revenue's generating on its own, that I can feed myself, I can feed my family, I can grow something. So these 2 classes are imperative. The first one, probably much easier than the second one. This just talks about credit. So we're going to talk about credit because a lot of people think that for some reason they have got this misunderstanding that they think that when you're starting a business, everything is available on business credit. So it's your business that gets the credit when that's not truly how it works, especially when you're starting a business. The most important thing really is your personal credit because it's the only thing that would tell a bank how you pay your bills, right? What it looks like when you're given money and how you pay that money back. So it's imperative to have your personal credit the way you need to have it, or the way it should be in order to, go out and get that loan that you need or get that equity that you need. I mean, even if you were going to get an equity partner or something like that, a lot of times they're looking into your credit as well because they want to make sure you're paying your bills on time. So with that said, let's just jump right into it here. We're going to do a real quick breakdown of what credit is, and if a lot of this is review, I apologize. I know that it's a little bit different nowadays than it was, let's say, rewind the clock 20 years ago. A lot of people didn't understand what went into their credit score. They didn't understand how important their credit score was. This credit thing is actually kind of a new thing, to be frank. I mean, think about it. You go back to the 70s, not that many people had credit cards. The only credit card that was out there for the most part was Amex, and that was not exactly a credit card. That was more like a card that had to be paid off immediately. So it's a consumer card that really didn't give you credit over time. You had to pay it off all at the end of the month. So the invent of the credit bureaus, the tracking, the importance of that in your day-to-day life, that has become much more grand. It's become much more pervasive. Right now, if you're trying to get insurance, if you're trying to get a mortgage, obviously, if you're trying to get sometimes rental, right? If you're trying to rent an apartment, all your credit comes into play in all those things. Now, sometimes employers are pulling credit, so it's much more important than it used to be. And I just think it continues to grow in that same vein, and it's going to keep moving in that same direction. However, we are getting a little bit of reprieve when it comes to certain credit things, because as you know, if you've ever had any issue with credit before, it's difficult to remedy something that's on there that maybe shouldn't be on there, or maybe it was on there in error. So we are getting a little bit of reprieve with that, and I'll talk through some of that as we go through the presentation. So what I have in front of you is the 5 weighted factors for your credit scores. You can see payment history is first and foremost at 35%. That's absolutely huge. You have to know that if you miss one payment, you're probably going to see a 50, 60, 70 point dip in your credit score, especially if your credit score is good. I know it's kind of antithetical to think about how that works, but if you've got an 800 or an 840 credit score and then you miss one payment or you're late on one payment, you get dropped to like 750, 770 versus if you had something that's like a 540 and then you miss the payment, you probably only drop to about a 520. And that's because it's relative. It's showing a huge change or a huge shift in your repayment patterns. If for so many years you had paid perfectly, and then all of a sudden now you've messed up on a payment. So that person who had the 540 credit score, well, that's just how they pay, right? And that's kind of all worked into the algorithm. So what this does is it shows the lenders, hey, there's been probably a seismic shift in what's happening with this person. And that might not even be the case, right? Sometimes it's the case that, hey, we're on vacation, we just missed something, something was put there on error, but usually you can get those things fixed. And right now, I think creditors are being a lot more lenient with that. So if anything ever gets on your credit score, please, I implore you, call the creditor immediately and work something out. A lot of times they can take these late payments off, or at least they can, refund certain payments or whatever. But right now they're giving a lot of grace. So especially with everything that's going on with the pandemic, they're giving a lot of grace. So if you get a late payment of any sort, please call, have that conversation with them, because you don't want that on your credit score. It stays for a long time. So you have to know that your regular payments stay on for about 7 years, right? Now, the most heavily weighted ones are the previous 24 months. However, it can stay on your credit report for 7 years. A lot of times I pull credit for prospective borrowers and I can see something that they didn't pay, back in 2015, right? Is it weighing a lot on their score now? No, but I can still see it. I can still see that it either wasn't paid or it was paid late. So that's very, very important. When it comes to bankruptcies, I think they stay on your credit report for 10 years. Liens can stay on your report for 12 to 15 years. So just be very, very cognizant of how things impact your credit because it's super important. And I know you probably already know that. I'm just trying to really drive that home. So the second largest impact is from available credit. Right? As you can see there, that's 30% on the algorithm there. That's going to fluctuate, obviously, depending on needs. So, if you have to borrow up to 50%, 60%, 70%, that's going to happen from time to time. And if you've got a plan in order to pay that down and get it under, we recommend you just keep it under 30%. To get the highest scores, you usually keep it under 5% of your available credit. However, if you do go above, just make sure you've got a plan to get it down within a time frame that is workable for you before your next time that you're going to pull any kind of credit, right? So this whole credit game is a dance. It really is. You need to know how that algorithm works in order to be able to beat it, right? Because you need to know that, hey, I may not use my credit for another year, but if I'm going to use it at the end of that year to either buy a car, buy a house, start a business, something like that or whatever, then I need to make sure that I have backward planned, right? I need to make sure that I've put into place like a PACE plan, right? My primary plan, my alternate plan, my contingency plan, my emergency plan to make sure that by the time I get to that end year, that 12-month time frame, right, that it is where it needs to be and I can move forward with what I want to move forward with unencumbered. So just be very cognizant of how you map this thing out. If you plan ahead of time far enough and you're going to have the resources, you're going to be fine. But you need to make sure you plan for it up front. The next couple are not really something that are super significant. Like link to history, there's nothing that you're going to be able to do about that. So you either have the history or you don't. You could piggyback on someone else's history, but we'll talk about that down the line. That's especially good for children. Type of credit is just a mixture of credit. So again, it doesn't really impact it greatly, but the different types of credit you have, we'll talk about that as well. And the last one's inquiries, and that is really all within your control. But sometimes, depending on what's happening, you have to shop a little bit. And so you may have to get those inquiries. It just kind of is what it is. Depends on what you're doing. It's all case-by-case basis. All right, let's take a look at the next one. If we can. All right, so things to think about. As you can see here, we're talking about Credit Karma, some companies out there that talk to you about your credit and try and help you with your credit, getting better with your credit. When we talk about the 3 credit bureaus, Equifax, TransUnion, Experian, everybody should be familiar with them by now, kind of household names. Why my score on Credit Karma is different than the bank score, and someone's good credit makes someone's challenging credit good. So I'd like to address that score issue on Credit Karma versus the bank score. A part of this dance is understanding that the scores that I pull are relevant to the type of lending that I do. So if you've got an account set up with Equifax, TransUnion, or Experian, you probably know that they give you several different scores depending on what the model looks like. They'll give you scores that talk about, hey, if you were going to get a car loan, this is what your rate would be. If you were going to get a mortgage, this is what your rate would be. If you were going to get a credit card, this is what your rate would be. Well, that's similar to that. So what they do is they kind of cater it. So it's very, very hard to, I guess, know what your credit score is going to be across the board because they have different parameters for which they gauge these and different, different equations and calculations for what they take into account versus like who's going to pay their mortgage versus who's going to pay their car loan. I know that doesn't sound like it makes a lot of sense, but they back it up with a lot of data, and they're all proprietary, right? So all these algorithms are proprietary. We can only go with some of the knowledge that they give us. This has been brought to court multiple times, and time after time, it's been found that they're proprietary. So, unfortunately, we've got some of the basic information, but we don't really know what truly goes into each one of these algorithms. So getting back on task with the question, though, why is your score different on Credit Karma than it is versus what the bank pulls?